You sing about like love and heartbreak a lot. Like, is it
Yeah.
all mostly your own personal experiences?
I would say a lot of it is my personal experiences. I started to take vocal lessons and I was just like doing this like on my own. And my mom was like, "You want me to drive you 30 minutes every Saturday to some man's home so you can learn how to like sing better?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I think
How's it
I don't know
going?
why my whole legal name is on here. Hold on, let me change this for you.
No, I love
Embarrassing.
it.
No, no, no. We cannot do that. There we go. It's done.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm Damara from the AVE, and thank you so much for coming and talking to me today. I'm really
Oh,
excited.
thank you so much for having me. I believe we follow each other on Instagram, right?
Yes, we do.
All
We
right,
do.
nice.
That was good. Yeah, so I actually just saw that you were like in Montreal.
Yeah, I was in Montreal last weekend. I was doing a show and like some other like media related stuff.
How did it go?
It was incredible. It was my first time performing in Montreal,
Yeah, that's
and I was like,
awesome.
it was actually my first time performing outside of Ontario.
Oh, that's so sweet. How did
And
it feel to like just be with a new audience?
it was such a weird feeling because like usually when I do shows in Toronto, I'll either have like friends or family or like familiar faces show up, but I
Hmm.
actually didn't know a single person in the audience. Like obviously like my photographer was there and then like my
Yeah,
pianist was playing with me and then like I had maybe two people that I knew in the audience, right?
that's
But
crazy.
everyone else like it was a full venue. Um it was like I think around 100 people, and I didn't know a single person, and no one knew who I was. And like, there's like this like ongoing like beef between Ontario and Montreal. So I was like, if I get up there and I say I'm from Toronto, they're gonna throw tomatoes at me.
No
Um,
way.
I was so scared. But no, they honestly like showed so much love. I started my entire performance off by like speaking about what's going on in Iran. Like I'm Iranian,
Right, right. Yeah.
and people like loved that. They showed so much support, so much love. I was extremely nervous, so I did mess up a few times. But overall, like it was honestly so incredible. I'm like, oh, thank
Honestly,
you.
that's so sweet to hear. And like I did see that you brought like the Iranian flag with you. And like that's just so amazing that you did that and like the response was good. And
Yeah,
yeah, so like how did it feel to be able to just like be able to support like your country like on a bigger scale and have that
like
voice?
it felt really good to be able to do that. Although it doesn't feel like it's enough. It's honestly so hard to do things when you're so far
Mhm.
away from home. There's not much I can do. There's not like I can't go and physically change what's going on right now, but just taking my flag with me to like a whole new audience of people and like bringing awareness to what's happening to like 100 people. The
Yeah,
fact that I did that is like I'm proud of myself for that.
yeah.
Like I spoke on exactly what's happening. I showed people what the real Iran flag looks like because a lot of people don't know, but ever since like the regime happened, our flag was changed. So it's not even the current flag that you see like in your like emoji when you search up the like Iran flag. It's not even the one that really represents Iran. And there's like if you see protests and stuff, you're gonna see like a lion on the flag. Whereas like right now it's like a symbol that means God in
Okay.
Arabic. Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, and so like that's the one that I took on stage with me, the one with the lion, because um Iran used to be like the Persian Empire, and like the lion represents um like fierceness and like strength and things like that, and that's like the one where like we associate ourselves with. So
Right.
to also show people like this is Iran, and if you've never heard of Iran, like this is Iran.
Amazing.
I also vowed to myself that until Iran is free, I will take my flag with me to every single show.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, please keep doing that. Please keep
Yeah.
like speaking and spreading your voice because even if it doesn't feel like enough, it's you're still doing amazing things and
Yeah.
that's awesome. So you are Persian and Dutch, which is like such a cool mix.
I'm not like Dutch isn't in my blood. I
Okay,
was like raised in the
right,
Netherlands.
right.
And I have a lot of family there because obviously back to the revolution, like the Netherlands was one of the easiest places to immigrate to.
Right.
So the Netherlands has like a huge Iranian population. So it's like become a big part of me and like my culture and like who I am as a person. My entire family speaks Dutch.
Right.
Um, yeah. I
That's
like to
awesome.
say like, like Dutch Persian because it's a part of who I am, but I don't got the passport, so
You don't have that one yet. You should get that though. That'd be
I
cool.
know.
So how was it growing up? Like, so you grew up in Holland.
Yes.
So how was that
Um,
for you?
so I was born in Iran, and then right when I turned 8 months old, my family and I immigrated to the Netherlands. I lived there until I was 6 years old. So that's where I learned how to walk. That's where I made my first friend. Got to experience like my first everything. It was there. It was in Europe. It's like very different than, hi Kate.
Hi.
It's very different than life here.
Right.
But like the way I would describe it is things move very slow there, but in a
Mm,
like in the best way possible.
right.
Yeah,
That's
like
totally different than over here.
everyone is just taking their time with life. People are so present, and it just shows in like the smallest things. Like people don't really drive there. Everyone's either like walking or they're biking. Like biking is a huge thing.
That's awesome.
Um, and people like don't spend that, like it's like if you go out to a restaurant, like everyone usually has their phones like flipped, and
Yeah.
like put away. Like no one is on their phone. Even if you like go out to restaurants and you're looking around you, like people aren't on their phones.
Yeah, people are more personal. Like,
People are more personal. And like another really beautiful thing that I'll always admire them for is like people spend so much time alone. Like
mm,
you'll see a lot of like independent people just like in a park, walking, just reading books, like at restaurants, at coffee shops. Here I feel like you'll get judged for it,
right.
or people will just be like, oh, like why is this person like having like
Or like I can't go by myself or that kind of thing.
yeah, like the idea of like sitting down at a restaurant by yourself and like having dinner. It's just like people will think of you as like a little weirdo for doing that here, but
Mm,
like no, like I love that like there's not really like that level of judgment. Um, Yeah, I
right.
honestly
Everyone's just
like,
kind of in their own world.
yeah, it's
That's
beautiful.
cool.
I love it.
So
Yeah.
cool. So with your background, how does that integrate like into your music and like with your inspiration and everything?
Um, Whew. I feel like I've just been like so all over everywhere that it's bound to flow into my music.
Right.
Um, I find inspiration from my Iranian culture. I find a lot of inspiration from Europe, and I find a lot of inspiration from just growing up in Toronto.
Right.
All in different ways. So I think with like when it comes down to like my strength and my persistence and my momentum that I maintain and like my dedication to music, it's
Mhm.
because of my Iranian background. You know what I mean? And then when it comes to just like my level of creativity and how I like to bounce ideas or like I like to think outside of the box and like I like to try new things or do things that like might seem a little risky, like involving politics on my first show in Montreal. Like I take that from like my Toronto side, and then I think just like in terms of like melodies and sounds and things like that, like I take that from like Europe, just because I love Dutch music, I love
Yeah.
French music, I love UK, so yeah, I think
You
I
just
think
got like a broad spectrum of
yeah.
everything that like intertwines. And honestly, it's like amazing. Like I listen to your music and I can like hear all of those different inspirations and like it's so lovely.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
no worries at all. So like with you moving around and like kind of being everywhere, like where was your first sort of musical experiences like when you kind of realized like, oh, this is what I want to do?
My first musical experience. Okay. I think like the first moment that I actually decided to take music seriously was when I was in high school. I started to take vocal lessons and I was just like doing this like on my own. And my mom was like, "You want me to drive you 30 minutes every Saturday to some man's home so you could learn how to like sing better?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I was like I think I can sing and I feel like I can get better." So I was in grade 10 doing like 2 days of vocal lessons a week. And then like I remember like the guy that was training me, he's like, "You have a really unique voice. Like you sound like a combination of like Amy Winehouse and like but like a more younger version." It was just like it's just interesting. And he's
Yeah.
like, "You should really like think about like a career in music." And in that moment I'm like, like I would love that, but I don't know if that's something that like is going to be supported by like my family, you know? So like
Especially when
that's
you're young too. Like,
yeah, especially
uh,
when you're young. Yeah, young and then like an immigrant, you know, like coming from like an immigrant family where it's just like typically they would want you to become like a doctor or a lawyer or something like that.
right.
Um, so like in that moment, I'm like, okay, like maybe this is something that I could actually do. Because also growing up, I always had this feeling that I wasn't really good at anything. Like I wasn't really good at school. I wasn't good at sports. I kind of sucked at a lot of stuff.
You just
But
didn't
like
find your
music was
thing
like
yet. Yeah.
maybe. Okay, I like to think of it like that. Okay. I feel like like I struggled in like a lot of different things, but music was just kind of like that thing that like I felt like no one could really take from me. Like
Hmm.
no one can like look at me and be like, you can't sing, you know?
Yeah.
Except for this like one time where like I didn't get a solo in my school choir and like till this day that like still irks me. But like I just felt like, you know, like this is like the one thing that I'm actually like really good at and this could be like a big part of my future. Um and then he signed me up for like a few songwriting workshops and then I learned how to write songs and then what happened after? And then I was doing that from like grade 10 to 11. I was like writing music. I was strengthening my voice. I hadn't put anything out yet. And then second year of my undergrad was when I put out my very first single. And it's only because, and I will give him this, um, this kid that I met in one of those songwriting workshops ended up blowing up and ended up signing to Sony. I won't say his name because he is now canceled for something bad that he did.
Okay.
But he ended up blowing up. He got signed to Sony. He was like doing Oshega. He was like doing all these like huge festivals. And I was like on Instagram one day and I like saw one of his ads, like his sponsored ads. And I'm like, yo, is that kid from those workshops I used to do?
You're like, no way.
I know. And I was like, there's no way. And then after that, I was like, I need to put music out. Like this can't wait any longer, you know?
Yeah. No, that's good.
And and then I put my first song out.
That's so incredible.
That
So
was
so
there.
through all that, like have your parents like are they supportive or do they see like
My
your
parents,
potential?
it's like it's very interesting. My parents are very supportive, I would say. Um, they like for me to have a backup plan. Um, they think that I have the talent and that I could possibly really make it. They do want me to have a backup plan. But I think my sister and my brother are more so protective and like, you should rethink this, you know? So it's like flipped. Like it's like my siblings who are like a little iffy about
You're
it and
just
like
worried, yeah.
yeah. I
But
feel like
no,
that's like
you're
it's like
killing it. Like, I mean, since your first single, which was in 2018, right? And then till now, like you've put out 11 singles, your
oh my gosh, you
body of
counted.
work. 11 singles, like that's crazy from now until then. And then you had your body of work, and which is amazing. So like through that process, how has it been like going through that journey of just growth and everything?
It's been every emotion you could possibly think of and
Yeah.
feel. Like there's been moments where I like feel on top of the world and I'm like wow, I'm really can I swear in this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
I'm like I'm really fucking doing it, you know? Like I remember when I performed at like the Mod Club, which I don't know if you know what that is. It's like a very like infamous venue in Toronto. It's been renamed, but it's very
Okay,
infamous
dope.
for like big like where artists really like broke. So like The Weeknd, Drake, it was at Mod Club, you know, like that
Right.
was like where they broke. And so I remember when I did like my first show there, I was opening up for Chris LaRocca. I was like, and then after that, like that concert, I was like, holy shit, like I'm actually really doing this, you
Yeah, that
know?
was like the affirmation moment for you.
Yeah, and like I'll have these moments. Even like I went to I signed to this like LA label, and like I was taking trips to LA, and I was like getting put in like all these sessions back to back, and I was just like I felt so
Yeah,
on top of the world. But then
that's
I've
the
also had
lifestyle.
yeah, I was like, damn, like this could be my everyday. I could get
Yeah.
used to this, you know? But then I've also had feelings where I just like I feel like shit, you know? I feel like I'm not doing anything. Like my some of my songs don't even hit 5K streams and then others hit 100K and then like I'll have like, you know, people come and go into my life and like um it's just it's like a very inconsistent momentum that I've built. But I just feel like if you're in this game and if you're willing to, if you love music and you really want to be an artist, you just have to be okay with not always feeling okay.
Yeah. No, totally. It's just the ups and downs, and you're going through those processes. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is important, and you're and learning along the way. And you were featured in Teen Vogue, and you've had a lot of like spotlight on you since the beginning, which is incredible. And then you just had your newest single come out with Lou Celentino. Am I saying that right?
Celestino. Yes.
Celestino? Perfect. Wait on Me. What was it like
Mhm.
working with him?
Oh my gosh. Lou is a funny fucking guy. We met at the RBC Launchpad program, which is a program for emerging artists.
Hmm.
And I actually met him for the very first time in Montreal when I was going with my friends because he's like a Montreal artist. I met him for the first time there, and then the second time I met him was when we ended up in LA at the same time.
Okay, crazy.
And I was doing just like sessions every single day, and then like one of my sessions I was like, oh, like Lou, you should come, like it'll be a vibe.
Right.
He pulled up to the session and he thought he was like just gonna be like taking notes and like studying and stuff. I was like, no, like I actually want you to get on this song.
Oh no.
And it was like a session with a bunch of my other friends that he had never met before, and like none of them knew what he sounded like. And Lou doesn't look like what he sounds like, and I tell
Mm,
him this all the time. He sounds, he sounds like he literally sounds like The Weeknd, but like a French version. You know, if The Weeknd was French.
yeah.
And so once he started singing, everyone's just like, "Holy shit! Like, who is this kid?" And I'm like, "He's up and coming."
That's awesome.
Um, Yeah, so we made that song, and then Sainville, who's a Miami artist who lives in LA, helped write majority of the song, like a big parts of the song. He came up with the melody for the hook. He's also like incredibly talented. Oh my goodness, I he sounds like Frank Ocean, but he has the pen of like Belly.
Yeah,
Um,
whoa, what a mix.
he's yeah, no, that kid is like someone you really, I'm calling him kid, he's like significantly older than me. um no, he's extremely talented. No, yeah, I'm honestly so grateful that I get to even be in rooms with people with like so many diverse skill sets. But yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome to be able to work with different people and then have all those influences and then see like what the end product is.
Exactly, when I listen to that song I'm like, I don't know if I'm capable of making a song like that on my own. I actually don't think so, you know,
Oh,
because I'm
I'm
so
sure you
used to
are.
making I'm so used to making like melodies and like certain sounds and vibes and even like storytelling that I'm just very comfortable in.
Hmm.
So like I don't know if I would have taken those approaches. And I remember like when we were in the studio, the hook goes really high. Like wait on me.
Right.
And then like
Yeah.
even like the background vocals are like ee, hitting so many different notes. I think we did like 7 layers of melody, no. 7 layers of harmonies on just the
Wow.
hook. And I was just like, yo, you guys, like I can't hit those notes. Like let's just change it. And they're like, you can. I'm like, no, I can't. And they're like, you can. I'm like, I can't. And we are just like battling. And then eventually they like shoved me into the booth and they're like, do it. And then I did it. And I was
Yeah,
like,
but then you did do it.
yeah.
Sometimes it just takes that extra push, which is
Yeah.
great. And like, yeah, so you said like with storytelling with like your music, I was gonna say a lot of like We Turn to Strangers is very much a story.
Mhm.
And like from front to back, you're going through that process of like, falling in love and then there's heartbreak and all of those different emotions and then you're strangers. So like was that because you sing about like love and heartbreak a lot, like is it all mostly like your own personal experiences? Is it just kind of, off the top or, you know,
I would say a lot of it is my personal experiences, but I
mhm,
do definitely find inspiration from what other people are going through.
right.
Um, I just feel like people have an interesting way of looking at things. And so when I speak to a lot of my friends who are going through certain things, like the way they explain the situation or like how they are going through, it's like it's really beautiful, you know? It's like the way they process things or the way they are so accepting of what things are. I don't know, I just feel like I take a lot of inspiration from what the people around me are going through, but a lot of
Mhm.
it is unfortunately my own heartbreaks.
You know what? That's sometimes like the best though, like, because it's your
Yeah.
true emotions and, you're getting it out there. And even after you're finished the song or like the EP, for example, like the feeling after that, you've kind of been able to like let all that out.
It does feel really good after because it definitely does feel like a detox,
Yeah.
And one thing I always tell people with music, when you when you write music, those aren't always exactly the words and the words that you were thinking, if that makes sense. Because it's
Yeah.
like sometimes you get so lost in your thoughts, you don't really know how you feel until you put it on paper,
Hmm.
or in your phone or wherever you're writing music. But like you don't really know how you're feeling about a certain situation. There's been so many times where like I'm going through like something really ugly and disgusting and like I can't process my emotions.
Right.
And that like prolongs the healing process because I think for another few months I'm just going to be trying to process my emotions, but I feel like being able to write about it and being able to sing it helps me heal faster. It kind of just helps me get to the point of how I feel, and then I can also just like figure out how to stop feeling that way, or what I need to do.
Hmm.
um, so yeah, it's definitely been extremely helpful. I come to realize a lot of things as I'm writing. I'm like, oh wow, I'm like kind of a bitch, or like, oh wow, like I let people get away with a lot. Or like, wow, like even if I'm playing a song back to someone, they're like, you went through that. I'm like, yeah, and they're like, oh, that's really fucking bad. I'm like, oh, okay, so it is bad.
It's
Yeah,
kind of
there's a
like
lot of realization.
your own like personal like therapy sessions with
Yeah,
yourself, and just
yeah,
like
exactly.
revisiting things, even if it might be hard, or taking someone else's experiences and figuring out, oh, they went through this and relating to it.
Yeah. And I think another really like amazing part is like listening back to old songs
Right.
and realizing you don't feel that way anymore.
Hmm.
you know? So like when I listen back to the songs I made in like 2020 or 2019 or even some in 2021, I'm like, I don't feel that way anymore at all, about that situation, about that person, or even about myself. Like I don't feel I've grown and I've outgrown
Yeah,
those songs. And
I
that's
was
what I
gonna
want to do.
say.
I want to be able to outgrow those storylines.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all just a process of growth, which is amazing because yeah, you get to see how far you've come
Yeah.
and where you are now. So
Yeah.
how, like, even after you did like If We Turn to Strangers, because I know Strangers was the one that kind of catapulted that whole EP, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then that process of where you were before that till now, how are you feeling? Even though that was a year ago, but even just looking back till now.
From the EP release to now,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, it's been exactly a year since I released that project. I feel like it was a chapter that really needed to close
Hmm.
because that entire project was music from when I first started up until that moment. Like
Hmm.
up until I released that EP in October, and I was still making songs for that EP up until May. So it was a huge part of my life. But
Yeah.
I had all these songs that I felt like I can't release these emotions until I release these songs.
Hmm.
So when I put that EP out, it was like a nice farewell to those emotions and those
Right.
situations that happened. It was a chapter that like I needed to close, and I feel like now I can really step into making music that actually reflects like the person I am today, that reflects all the growth that I have gone
Yeah.
through.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Definitely like a full circle moment for you,
yeah,
especially with it being, exactly a year.
yeah.
It's
It's so
crazy.
crazy to think. I'm like, I can't believe a year has gone by and I since that project. But yeah,
That's so awesome. Honestly, congratulations.
thank you so
Yeah,
much.
no worries. And so I know that you have a concert coming up at the end of the month, right? How
Yes,
are you feeling? Are you excited?
I am very pumped. I'm opening up for Claudia Bouvette on
Mhm.
November 26th at the Drake Underground. I love the Drake Underground. I've done some of my favorite shows there. And
Awesome.
I'm a fan of her music too, so I'm honestly just so honored to be there.
Hell
I
yeah.
haven't done a show in Toronto since like early summer, so I'm just excited to be back on stage, singing my
Yes.
heart out.
All the
So
people are going to come out for sure. It's
yeah,
going to be
I
awesome.
hope
Yeah, definitely. When can we expect you to be in Vancouver? Do you have any idea?
Gosh, let's hope soon.
I know, I hope that would be amazing.
I know. I have some things in the works, so I'm really hoping to come out there in the new year.
Oof, I'm
So
excited
hopefully
for that.
more than just like, chit-chatting, but hopefully maybe you can see me live or
I would
something.
love that.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
Yes, I'm hoping soon. I'm thinking sometime in the new year. I've never been to Vancouver and I would really love to see it. So
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I've been here for a little while and like yeah, Vancouver's great. I'm sure you would love it. And maybe we'll come see you out in Toronto too.
Yes, need to come.
Yes, that'd be so sweet.
Yeah.
Well, do you have what's next for you? Do you have any music going on in the works right now? Anything you can tell me about?
Ooh, right now I've been kind of in my booking shows bag because I've
Right.
just been putting singles out like back to back this entire year.
Yeah.
I was doing a single a month starting like July.
Right.
So wrap that up, focus on shows right now, but
Mhm.
I have a bunch of new music for 2023, which I say this about all my songs, but I think they're gonna be some of my best work.
Yeah.
I'm super proud, and I'm also working with a lot of people that I really looked up to and look up to.
Mhm.
So I'm so excited to be putting out like these new pieces that are with some of my idols.
Oh,
It's not
that's
like
so
Justin
exciting.
Bieber, but like
One
but yeah,
day, one day.
you never know. But
You never
yeah,
know. Yeah, literally. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for sitting and talking with me today. I had a pleasure talking to you. And yeah, I hope that we get to see you soon. And
yes. Thank you so
it'll
much
be
for taking
great.
the time. I'm a
Of
big fan of you
course.
guys.
We're a big fan of you. Thank you so much, girl. Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Play it on a repeat. Try to